Hi, Susan here. Okay, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the slopers. What are they? And why are they so important? And that's what's next. Okay guys, so here we are. We're going to talk about the sloper. But before we start doing that, I want to thank you guys for following me on my vlogs. We did vlog 17 last week, working on the lace gown project. We're going to get back to it. And I also did at the same time a YouTube live event. Semi-successful, my first event. But I started to talk about slopers in that event. And I wanted to actually be more specific with it on this short video about slopers. So let's get to it. Okay, so before we get to it, I want to thank you guys for tuning into my Patreon account with a low subscription base subscription, and I also have for advanced students to be able to ask me an advanced question on fashion design and get an answer on a video format, and that's on my Patreon account. Check it out, it'll be below on the description box. So what is a sloper, guys? So the 5-piece sloper is the basis of all design. But what is it? It is the basis, or it's the guts of the body, the basic form and measurements of the body that is converted from a 3-dimensional form into a 2-dimensional flat pattern. And it's a pattern without seam allowance. Slopers are blocks, and blocks and slopers are essential patterns of the body with a tiny bit of ease just to get it on, and no seam allowance that can be used to manipulate and make new designs. Most designs are made from your basic 5-piece sloper set. And so that is the most important tool in your toolbox as a fashion designer that you're going to need in your company, in your design room, in your sewing room, whatever you have established. So the 5-piece sloper set consists of a 1-dart bodice sloper, a 2-dart back bodice sloper, a 2-dart skirt sloper, a 2-dart back skirt sloper, and an unfitted straight sleeve sloper. Those 5 pieces, guys, can be converted to almost any design you can think of. And you can also then start making things like the 1-dart into a 2-dart sloper, so that you can convert and make things like a torso front sloper and a torso back sloper. These can be made into blouses, dresses, even jackets. So these 5 pieces, which are essential to making any design, and I'm going to have the link below to my website where you can purchase this on your own if you don't want to make it on for yourself, or you want to follow me along with my teaching and understand with this sloper set. It is usually made from a size 8 dress form, and that 8 dress form is then converted into a garment size 4-6 in a USA sizing. If you want to use your sloper and make a larger size, or use yourself as a sloper, I'll give you the links below as well to follow those videos, so you can make a sloper set in your measurements for your sewing room or for your design house, or if you want to use my measurements. I like to use these measurements. They have been really good to me, and that I will give you those measurements, and they are also on my website. And they're basically a 35 to 35 and a half, 27 to 27 and a half waist, and 37 hip. That is basically the sweet spot measurements for the size 8 dress form that is then converted into a 4-6 garment. Also understand that my size 8 dress form will not be the same size as your size 8 dress form. Each manufacturer, every year that mannequin was made, will also be different. So they will always be different measurements. They will never be the same as my measurements. If they do, it's just a fluke. So keep that in mind, that you might want to tweak them and change them just a little bit if you purchase my set to your liking. Why do we use slopers? Well, you know, I'm a couturier designer, and my background is couture, but draping every single design on a dress form can be very, very time consuming. Most companies cannot afford to do that. Most ready-to-wear companies won't do that. So they have to have these slopers. And so once you get these slopers and you have them just right to the measurements that you want for your company, and you can adjust them by flat pattern, it makes things go a little bit quicker. And I also always say that once you've started developing new designs and you've designed in your collections, and let's say you have, line number 1, 2, 3, 4, by the time you get to about the 6th collection or line that you have for your company, you will start to see something that's called your best sellers. These best sellers are usually garments that are made that are selling the best, are noticed the most, are most asked about, and those garments then can become actually your sloper. Meaning, I had some of these knit garments that I did in my collections, and they became such a good seller that this one in particular I did in so many different ways without the drape on the front, just basic. They also became my design slopers. A design sloper is actually a design or a baseline design that can be used and transferred into other designs. For instance, I did a lot with this Model knit and another knit that was very similar in stretch. And after seasons using that knit, I had developed a really good pattern. And those patterns become that type of sloper or design sloper that you can use to make maybe other knit designs with similar knit fabric. One of the main things about slopers and one of the main problems with new companies is fit and proportion. So if you want to get the fit right and consistent, you want to make sure that your slopers are made from a draping method, not just a drafting or measurements on a flat piece of paper, because the form is always going to be different from those calculations and those measurements. As a designer, I prefer to drape my slopers and make it that way and tweak them. Pattern makers think differently. They don't have the same feeling for the slopers as a designer who wants to create maybe couture type of garments. So it's not either or, not one worse than the other. It's just my preference on how I like to do it. And in order to get a consistent size in your collections, if you have your consistent slopers and you're making every design from these block patterns, you will then have that consistent size and proportion all the way through your design house and all of your new designs. The biggest downfalls for a company is their fit. You can have the most incredible designs. You can be bought boutiques or large department stores, and they want you really bad and they love your designs, and they'll buy your designs. They'll buy your designs for the first season. They'll buy your designs for the second season. But by the third season, if those garments are coming back because their fit is not good or the drape is not right, then you will not sell them on the third season. So if you don't have a consistent measurements and you don't have your consistent blocks or slopers or your solid dress form, you're going to have a hard time getting your designs out in the companies and to the companies with turn sale on the next year and the next season. To explain it very briefly, and as you can see, I put the torso sloper on here. I'm always checking it on the body. Like I said, I'm going to have all that information below so that you can obtain the 5-piece sloper set from me. It is the best tool that you can possibly invest on. I have a very, very low price because of the YouTube Live. I've just reduced the price so low that if you would like to, as soon as you can, it takes about a week to get it out to you. And I will continue the vlog series next week, guys. Next week. All right, guys, we're done with that vlog. All right, we're gonna get back to the lace gown project on the next one. All right, we'll see you there.